Hello, judges of the App Dev League Hackathon. My name is Praneeth, and this is my project Studie, which is a web app that boosts your productivity. Our web app focuses on a problem that consists of two sub-problems, which consists of procrastination and distraction. Procrastination is usually lacking the motivation to do something, so you decide to delay your homework, or maybe you need to go run some errands. And number two is distraction. Something near you is distracting you, like your phone, your parents telling you to do something, or etc. So, what's the solution? So, we have two solutions. Solution A is that we create an aesthetic, memorable, and pleasing components to help you keep engaged. Solution B is the same helpful components that immensely boost your productivity. Furthermore, we can talk about Studie's technicality. Here's a quote by Tim Ferriss, which says, "Focus on being productive instead of being busy." It's a great quote that I rely on every day while I'm doing something like coding or doing homework. So, Studie consists of more than 2,000 lines of code, specifically 800 lines of CSS, 545 lines of HTML, 740 lines of JavaScript. Technical composition. Well, Studie consists of 38% of HTML, 26% of CSS, 35% of JavaScript, and 35% Python. CSS creates that pleasingly aesthetic styling, JS creates that dynamic functionality, and Python helps with the backend. Well, we'll use Flask for that. So for Studie's future goals, we plan to implement many features. We plan to implement video generation, which is a YouTube API, and we can use Flask for the backend. We use CSS styling to make it very aesthetic, and we also use JavaScript for the dynamic functionality to help user experience. We can also make guides using Wikipedia API, and we also use Flask for the backend. We also use CSS styling for the aesthetic design, and we will also use JavaScript for dynamic functionality as well. Our third future feature is more components. Well, we'll use CSS styling to make aesthetic components once again, JavaScript for dynamic functionality, and Flask for the backend. To specify more components, it'd probably be something that engage users and boost their productivity once again. This is Studie's demo. So Studie is a web app that's been deployed on Netlify. Um, and so once you open up this website, you'll be greeted with a landing page that says, "Welcome to Studie, a place to boost your productivity." So again, to remind you of the languages used, we used HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Python. Python specifically Flask as a micro framework for our backend services. So once we click Open App, we'll go to the resource pages with very cool looking animations that I did. Yeah. So you'll be greeted, "Welcome, resource to assist learning beyond, to assist your study session, and to assist quenching your curiosity." So once you click this button, you'll be greeted with multiple resources, or I would like to say components, of our web app. One entire component would be a Pomodoro technique timer, music player, and notes app. We also integrated two very highly, it's not functional, but we had this amazing idea that we tried to make functional, but we just couldn't because our backend is not the greatest because it is my first time trying to use backend. I'm a front-end developer. So we have Studie videos and Studie guides. Studie videos use YouTube API to generate YouTube videos that only takes it from Crash Course and very renowned educational YouTubers out there. Studie guides does the same thing. It's just a Wikipedia API that formats into a guide. So if you search up like CSS or something, it'll tell you about CSS. If you want to search up photosynthesis, it'll tell you about photosynthesis. And coming soon, well, we want to add more features to our web app, so yeah. So let's click on Open App on the Pomodoro timer. So we're here on the workspace. Workspace. So on Workspace, we have the Pomodoro Technique timer. And we use JavaScript for this highly functional local storage where you can save your settings of how long you want your timer to be. So let's just do 1 minute and a 1 minute break length. So we save settings, saved, cool. And then we start our timer, and this is the part where it's pleasingly aesthetic. So because most timers out there are just four numbers and it just, it's very boring. But as you can see, this timer works. So we can pause it. So it'll pause, and we can resume it. It resumes. And if you reset, it resets. And if you want to change it, let's change it to 5 minutes. Save settings, saved. So if you want to start, there we go, 5 minutes. We want to pause the timer, we can pause it. If you want to resume it, we resume it. And then we just reset it once again, and you can change it back. So if we scroll down a further bit, I've already made a note, but so once you click this icon, plus icon, we can make a title. We can go ADL Judging Demo. This web app is very cool. So if you do add, it'll add the notes, and this also does use a local storage. So if you visit this website again, like if you exit out of it and you visit back, it'll save. So yeah, I love this feature the most, to be honest. It was really fun coding. And then last but not least, if you go to crew, it is our two creators. My name is Praneeth, and I'm a senior in high school and a 17-year-old web developer. Thank you, judges from the App Dev League Hackathon, for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, this is my email and this is my Discord tag. Thank you once again.